What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake NBA Wise Stream. It is Wednesday, December 18th, 2019. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I'm joined once again by the GOAT, the true OG of the WiseTake Nation, Mr. Paulie D. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie with 8 Ds. Used to say it when it was not relevant, but now it's relevant because we're back on YouTube. Paulie D, what's happening, bro?
What's happening, baby?
Oh man, you got the boo boo quality coming in. Let me get a sound check real quick.
Yeah, what does the noise? Mic check, mic check. You need me to up it, low it, down it, high it?
It wasn't. It's more of a connect.
Okay.
I think it's good now. It was more of a connection thing, so I must have just been a little hiccup.
Oh, I gotta get on the Wi-Fi. I'll be right. Yeah, I got you.
Ain't even on the Wi-Fi. Look at that. Pretty interesting slate we have. I find that for me anyway, the most important news, I think, is the Karl Anthony Towns news. There could be stuff coming out that I'm not even thinking of, but as of right now, to me, that seems like the most important piece of information. I know for me personally, as far as how I plan on attacking the slate, that has a lot to do with it. We have some news. We know Gordon Hayward's out. I would imagine the Boston guy is going to be owned, and it's kind of the direction that I'm leaning towards for now. But again, where I am now, I'm not ready to commit because a lot of these guys are projecting for roughly the same. Like the margin between these dudes. There's a few guys that stand out, but the margin between a lot of these other guys, they're like, it's like, what are you gonna do? It's like 30s, dropping 30s. Thin. Paulie, what are your overall thoughts on this one?
Yeah, the cat news does loom large because we don't really have anybody else expensive on the slate. There's Embiid, there's Jokic, there's Beal, and normally we have significantly higher priced guys. Cat's the only one that's up there that, is in a really good spot in a good game that we'll want exposure to that will require some significant value to get into a good lineup. But outside of those few guys, the slate is very deep in the mid tier. I don't know how much extreme value we need to take shots on, but we have 3 or 4 really short-handed teams opening up that kind of value. So, this might even be a slate where money left on the table ends up working out. It's kind of unique where we don't have anything to pay up for.
Yeah, it definitely is unique. And that the balance build is kind of pushing you. And then we have this cat news, and if cat happens, you're gonna get some extra value opened up. We already have some, but just nothing that I'm nothing that's super cheap that I'm willing to really grasp into like a ton. That could change if Karl Anthony Towns gets ruled out. But like you said, but who are you paying up for then? As of right now, He kind of is the stud, right? He's got a nut matchup. He's got a sprained knee, so we'll talk about our interest in him later. But I'm with you. It's pivotal information. I think that game's on at 8? Is it 8?
Yeah, that's what you told me.
It's at 8. So we'll see. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get things rolling with what we do know. So let's start off with point guards, Paulie. Anybody above 6K, who do you like?
Yep. So, Devontae Graham, has shown us huge usage and huge ceilings. I do like him, at the point guard spot. Ben Simmons, there's nothing that stands out in particular, but they don't have really good guards that are good at defense on Miami. I think if the game's close and, Ben Simmons probably has a good game. Then we get to the real nuts and bolts of position in the mid tier. Kemba is going to be extremely chalky. No Gordon Hayward, no Marcus Smart, and pretty fast playing, non-defense playing opponent. I just kind of into John Morant, as a pivot off Kemba. I like this kid. He's got triple-double upside. He's just supremely talented offensively. Even if Cat's in, I'm not as excited about Jeff Teague. If Cat's out, he's one of my favorite plays, but I do like Jeff Teague. And then, Jamal Murray as well has a really nice price tag and will probably be very low owned. He's almost always low owned. So those are the guys I'm most interested in at this point.
Yeah, starting with Kemba, he'll be pretty chalky. He was already projecting really well. He was a guy that I think a lot of people were going to be playing regardless. The Gordon Hayward news that came out of nowhere was just icing on the top. So I'm going to play him a good chunk. Now, I do think that there are interesting pivots. So you've got Kyle Lowry, who's in a similar situation to Kemba. We know that Van Vliet is ruled out again. Lowry is not that much more expensive. I believe Kemba is a better player as of right now, at least who you would want to rely on for fantasy purposes. But point being, him and a couple other guys, there are pivots out there. So Kemba's the guy as of right now that I have the most of. I think Damian Lillard's kind of interesting too. People might write off that late game because it's Golden State. Dame hasn't played particularly great, but 9K against D-Lo defense and then whoever else they got, it's just it is a really good spot on paper for him and McCollum both. But
Yep.
aside from that, I think Brunson's going to go on our ownership. I don't love Brunson. It's just we don't have a ton of other people like from a projection standpoint, and he projects well enough. So it's like, yeah, it makes sense. Like they're missing Luka, but his price has come up now to where it's not like a slam dunk. I agree with you. I would rather play a Jeff Teague, but for me to do that, especially with Jeff Teague coming off the bench recently, I got to know that like the cat is out or something to feel confident in taking a bigger stance on him over Brunson. That's kind of where I'm at. Last guy I'll mention here is Terry Rozier. Graham, both of those guys, right? Play him all the time. They're playing Cleveland. Nut spot for guards. Very good spot for both of those guys. Cleveland and Charlotte are both bad teams. Game has a possibility. It could be a really good fantasy game. With that said, take us under the 6K range.
All right. Under 6, we've got Kendrick Nunn right there at 6. I do like. If Jimmy's not doing it and the game's close, he's going to get his volume, and he's shown us 50-point ceilings. Terry Rozier, not really going to play much with Graham, but as a pivot off, he's significantly cheaper, and Cleveland's been terrible to point guards lately. Like Jalen Brown as well. And then what's this little tag on Lonzo Ball? Game time decision. Lonzo Ball, if he's still starting, I can get behind. Everybody from Washington I'm interested in, including Ish Smith and Isaiah Thomas. I'm going to keep playing Markelle Fultz. I think it's a little bit better of a spot today against Jamal Murray versus, what's his name? Mike Conley yesterday.
Conley got hurt again.
Seth Curry's just been playing awesome since Luka went down. Actually, the first game was before. But he's too cheap for like what he's shown us. I'm going to play some of him. Delon Wright, cheap usage, minutes increase, all that good stuff. Like the pace of that game. And then there's some dart throws down here, like Kobe White, right? Like he can go for 30 plus when he gets hot shooting. They, could be some additional minutes. The pace is going to be great against Washington. Brad Wanamaker, he should play a lot with Gordon Hayward out now. He's busted as chalk value a few times this year, but he's aggressive when he gets minutes. The game could blow out one way or the other, and he gets increased minutes with higher usage with guys like Kemba off. So he's worth a look. And then Malik Monk, 3,300, went for 45 DraftKings points, and his price went down $100. And he's played 27 and 25 minutes the last 2 games. PJ Washington, a big core rotation guy, is going to still be out. 3-3 against Cleveland, a nut spot. Like I like him a ton. And I think that's it, going down all the way.
Real quick, before I continue, quick shout out to those of you watching us live on YouTube. Those of you watching, if you could all subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell so you're notified when we go live. We do this live stream Monday through Friday for free on YouTube. On Saturdays, we do it for our paid subscribers at WiseTake.com. But Monday through Friday, as of now, we are doing this show breakdown, leading you guys into lock. We're going to do the breakdown. Then after that, we go ahead and just kind of wait for the news to come out, pull up our Slack feed so you guys can see the injury news. And if we get anything big, we react, explain how we're reacting, talk it out, all that good stuff. So if you guys are watching, we appreciate you watching. Smash that like button. The like button really helps us out, allows us to continue. If you want to see more of the Y stream on YouTube, if you could all smash that like button, it'd go a long way. With that said, looking at the point guard options for me today, under 6K, it's not pretty for me. I like the guys up top a little bit more. I'm gonna have some Monk because he is really, really cheap, but I am worried. Batum is supposed to come back, and Batum before that last game is when he got hurt. He got 14 minutes. Look at his minutes before that. He was playing significant minutes. And with PJ Washington being out, maybe that slides Batum down a little bit more and opens up some room for Monk. So I'm still going to play him because the matchup is good, but I'm not going to go as heavy as maybe I would have if Batum was out. If Batum was out, I think it's like a slam dunk at this point. You have to be dumb not to do it. And I'm still going to have some because we play a lot of teams, but I would be a lot more excited if Batum wasn't coming back. That kind of bothers me. Under here, I don't like a ton. Saturansky and Revenge is interesting. That whole game, Isaiah Thomas, Ish Smith, they're all guys you may want to get sprinkles of, but as of right now, I'm not getting a ton of them. Just the way the projections are working, the WiseTake projections over at WiseTake.com, which you can get access to. Day pass, whatever you want, by the way. I'm just not getting. I'm getting a lot of Boston guys, a lot of mid tier. I'm not getting a ton of these as much Washington as you would think. With that said, Paul, move us over to shooting guards. Brah.
All right. So Brad Beal's, if the game's close, he's one of the best plays on the slate against a Chicago team that playing fast, not known for their D, and, so shorthanded, he's just going to have Harden-like usage. Zach LaVine is a nice pairing with Brad Beal. The better Beal does, probably the better LaVine does. The game goes to overtime or just goes down to the wire. They're both probably getting a lot of shots down the stretch. Drew Holiday, I'm probably going to take an underweight stance on. I just like other guards better. Got to cut the pool down some way or another. And, he did fine yesterday, but, the price is up a tad. I just like other plays on the slate better. D'Angelo Russell, I'm nervous about the game staying close, but if it does, he's probably balling well. So he's a nice pairing with some of the Portland studs like Lillard, McCollum, Whiteside, etc. CJ McCollum, too cheap, not matchup. Excuse me. Jalen Brown, no Gordon Hayward. Usage should be good. I like the pace of this game. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, guards have been going off against Memphis. I don't know if he'll get John Morant D, but if it's not Morant, it's going to be like Dylan Brooks or D'Anthony Melton. And Melton's the only real good defender, and he's more on the second unit. He shouldn't really run into him. So I think this is a good spot and price and ownership for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't think the field's really going to be on him. And, he's a good rebounder. Memphis doesn't have a ton of size, and he'll take a lot of shots. Finally, the price is down to where we should be buying back in on him. So I do like Shai Gilgeous as like a GPP upside, low ownership kind of play.
Yeah, I can't argue with it. You definitely get the feel that you're going to want a guard. One of these guards between him, Paul, Schroeder, you're going to want some of that. Memphis has just been awful against guards when John Morant is starting. With that said, I think at the shooting guard position, the Beals and the Butlers I'm interested in. I'm getting a little bit more Butler. Obviously, he's cheaper. He's going to project a little bit better. But I think with Beal, he's a guy that you kind of have to give a boost to in projections because his usage and minutes are just so massive at the game stage. He's the offense. With that said, I wonder if Bertans starting and playing these big minutes, I wonder how if at all, it affects Beal. Because Bertans is like, him being on or off, like, he shoots. He's obviously more of a scorer and a shooter than, like, Hachimura, the guy he's replacing. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I like the mid-range. That's kind of how it's been. Maybe if we get Cat out and as we get some of that dang value and whatever may open up, maybe that'll push me upper, but I'm like landing a little bit more in this mid-tier. Jalen Brown is one of my favorite options at the position. Again, Boston in general, until something else opens up, they're the ones projecting well, and it's just looking like a good situation. They were already projecting well, bro. Hayward was too. Now Hayward's out. So it's crazy. So Jalen Brown, I'll have Andrew Wiggins. Now I have like 20%. I'm willing to raise that if Cat's out. I'll go heavy on some Andrew Wiggins. I got no problem. I still want to have Wiggins even if Cat plays because if Cat's playing, he's got a bum knee. So I still think Wiggins is going to have to pick up the workload. Drew Holiday, in a similar situation, I'm a little worried on a back-to-back after overtime. I'm a little bit worried if Cat does play that this situation could get ugly. Minnesota is like a 7-point favorite. You never really see them favored that high. So I have some concerns. But with that said, Holiday and Ingram shot terribly yesterday. The whole team just shot terribly, and they still almost won that game. So if variance balances out at all, no shots start to fall a little bit, could be a different situation. So with that said, I do like this tier, and I like this mid-tier with Wiggins, Drew Holiday. I will have some Butler. And then another guy in the same tier that you mentioned, CJ McCollum, man. Like I mean, you're basically getting Dame light, right? You're paying half the price and getting Dame, not half, but, paying a lower price. And you're getting, right now anyway, at least how it's been at this moment, you're getting a lot of the same things Dame's been doing anyway. So I do like that. Paulie, take us down to Value Town.
All right. Value land. Damian Lee is probably one of my favorite off the board value plays at shooting guard. Very cheap. Has played good minutes in the 2 games since he's been back, and before he got hurt, he was just doing dirts on the regular. Josh Hart's been super consistent, and against Minnesota at 5'3", taking a lot of threes, good for DraftKings. I can get behind that. Tyler Hero, Tim Hardaway Jr. Both are going to be 10% or less guys, but like their games, and there's Hero's minutes have been on the rise. He's played 2 good games. Another 3-point shooter. Tim Hardaway, same thing. That $5K price where 30 plus is 6x or more, and you're just thrilled. Troy Brown is a shorthanded play, opponent play. I don't love him, but they're just running out of bodies, and he can be aggressive. Josh Richardson in a revenge spot's very interesting. I think he'll get around 30 minutes at 49. He could get hot from 3 and, do the dirt. Duncan Robinson, if you're playing Tyler Hero, you should have some Duncan Robinson too, because it's one or the others, one should get hot from 3 and have a good game. Probably rare that they both do. Jordan Clarkson, we think they're auditioning him, trying to raise his value for the trade deadline, 4,200 against Charlotte. Get behind that. And that is it. Then
I like Clarkson too. I know what's his name is out. You gotta move your camera. You moving your camera around? You're moving all over the place. Every time I look up, you're in a different position. Throwing me off my game, bro.
A little bit.
Evan Fournier. I'm fucking adjusting his projection. I'm talking about Evan Fournier. You got me all twisted up now, man. Throwing me off my shit. Brad Wanamaker, 3,500. I'll have a little bit. Not gonna have a lot. The guy's floor is just terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But he's 3,500. He'll get access to a different build. I'll have a little bit, a little sprinkle. Jordan Clarkson is a guy I genuinely do like, though. In this range, I agree with you that we know they're trying to shop Love. They're trying to shop Clarkson. And they've been finally giving these guys, mainly Clarkson, more run than he was getting. Clarkson was getting playing 15. It was ridiculous. He's better than most of the people on this team, and he's getting 15 minutes a game. But they finally have been letting him kind of go do their thing. This game should be competitive. If they want to win, they should keep him in there. 4,200 on DraftKings, and I know he's cheap on FanDuel. I just forget what price he is, but just really, really cheap. I'm digging it, and I think that's pretty much it. Again, I like that upper mid tier kind of section of shooting guard. Take me over to small forward, son.
Yep. So, on the high end, we've got Brandon Ingram, Jimmy Butler. Like them both. I think they're both guys you want to correlate with other pieces from the games. Brandon Ingram's probably been a little more consistent, whereas Butler has shown us much higher ceilings when everything comes together. He gets a triple-double and, ceiling in terms of steals and whatnot. Ingram's just been like real consistent around 40 to 45 points, but I do think a ceiling output could be on its way. Then we got the Will Bartons, Jalen Browns, Miles Bridges, all guys I have some interest in. Jalen Brown, I'd probably be the heaviest on. And then Davis Bertans is, one of the top, optimal plays on the slate. And I'll have some of that too. I have a lot of that actually.
Bertans is from Kansas. It's the only reason
he's from
the only reason. I would agree. In this particular tier, he's power forward only on FanDuel, but on FanDuel, Bertans' price is crazy low, like 5,800 for the role he's in. Phenomenal. On DraftKings, I still like him because he's going to be playing the 4, he's going to be playing the 5. He's going to play a ton of minutes, play 36 minutes in that last game. Hachimura played half of it. They need the scoring. They need the help. They need the size. He's I think, other than Mahinmi, he's like the biggest player on the team now. We're talking about Admiral Schofield, who's going to have to play some 3 and 4 today. Well, Admiral Schofield is like 6'5". Bertans is like 6'10". He's going to play the 4. He's going to play the 5. Mahinmi's not really a 38-minute type of player. So you're going to get this. If there was ever a situation for Bertans to be able to get a bunch of rebounds on the defensive end and shoot a bunch of threes on the offensive end, this would be that situation. So even though the price isn't great, for the upside he actually has, I think it actually is pretty good. We've never seen Bertans as the guy. We've gotten glimpses of it this year, and because of injuries, and he obviously has massive ceiling. I'm just a little scared of the floor. With that said, though, he'll be one of the players I have a ton of. Going down, we talked about a lot of these guys at shooting guard. Brandon Ingram, I talked about with Drew Holiday. I'm going to go back and get some, even though it's an overtime game. I don't normally like the back-to-back situations, but I do. They just shot terribly, and I don't think that, that's going to necessarily happen again. Maybe it does and I get burned, but it's a great game. Who cares? I'm getting exposure to a phenomenal game anyway. I'll like it a lot more if Cat's out, though. I'll be a lot more into it. Everything will be better for me in that game if Cat's out. That would be the solution to a lot of things. Paulie, take us under. Down under.
Down under. All right. Small forwards value. All right. Talked about him. So first guy I already kind of mentioned, but Miles Bridges, no PJ Washington, good opponent in Cleveland. Going to see like Seti Osman D. We talked about Satoransky in the revenge spot. Just, Washington, you want everyone against, just like Detroit the other day. Jay Crowder, I do like against OKC at 5,200. OG Anunoby at 5K, just, very solid, and small forwards have been dirtying Detroit all season. Thaddeus Young has been on a tear, and Washington is just terrible, fast pace. 4,200. He's really got good upside at that price, along with his teammate Denzel Valentine, who just won't get a price increase, even though he's like 6x or better this price, like 3 or 4 games in a row. And then Admiral Schofield, 3,700, should see 22 or more minutes today, and, was aggressive in college, got 24 DraftKings points. The first game he got good minutes, and, it's the Bulls. So like that. And then if you want to get really off the board, more so if Batum was out, this Cody Martin guy has been getting minutes. He shined in the preseason for Charlotte. And if Batum's out, which he has been the last 2 days, he's played 25 and 28 minutes. Guy can leap, not too aggressive offensively, but he can rack up peripherals on top of doing a little bit of scoring, and he'll definitely get blowout run. 3,300. You just don't need that value for very much today. But if Cat gets ruled in, and Batum is out, I think he's all right.
Yeah, I think the Troy Brown situation is interesting, right? Like on FanDuel, he's 4,600. We expect Brown to get a lot of minutes. I'm projecting him on the conservative end around 30, 31, but I think it could end up seeing more than that because there's no guarantee that Mahimi is going to get like a full 28 or whatever, because they could go small with Chicago and be just fine with that. That would actually fit better into Bertanz's style and all that anyway. So I think that in the meantime, I'll have some Troy Brown, but I kind of like OG a little bit better for pretty much the same price. Like you said, it's a good situation for him. And not that it's not for Troy Brown, but it's a really good matchup, man. The Wings against Detroit has been awesome. And OG's, that guy that 30 isn't that hard to get, man. Not from him. He could do it. Gotta get 30 minutes. So I like it. I do like OG. Under that, again, not really into this area. I'm so mid-range. Josh Okogie is a guy that's terrible. If Cat's out, maybe I'll raise it. But he's on this every other game kick right now, where he's just non-existent one game, putting up 20s in the next. But he's cheap, very, very cheap. He's in play now. He's even a better play if Cat is out. Doing dirties, dropping 7s, metaphorically. Power forwards. Neighbors. Dirty burgers. Let's go. Gotta get that money, man.
Gotta get that money.
It's all about that tug life,
Tuggington, tuggaroo.
That's right.
All right. Power forwards. On the high end, Kristaps, gone for 50 plus in 2 games without Luka. Boston struggles versus bigs. I like most of the other pieces on his team better, but you got to get some of him. He might be one of the highest raw scorers on the slate. Siakam feels a little pricey. Concerned about that game being close, being good, but if they get a good performance out of Blake and Drummond, the game should be close. It is in Detroit, and Toronto plays fast, and I think Detroit can kind of pick up the pace a little. Then it's the nice little mid tier. We got Tatum, 7,100. Kevin Love, who's been playing great. Jaren Jackson Jr., who's been playing really well. Wendell Carter Jr. at 6K, bigs against the Bulls. Blake Griffin is 5,900. We found out
he is on the Bulls. Bigs against Washington.
Yeah, exactly. Blake Griffin's 5,900, and that's below my cutoff, so I'll talk about him in a minute.
Boom. That Blake Daddy, 59 on DK. Yeah, man, we talked about Bertans. Jason Tatum, I think is worth taking a look at. Could be a foul trouble potential. I'm assuming he's going to get some Porzingis at times, things like that. But either way, I mean, the usage, again, with Hayward out, Jalen Brown, Kemba, him, the two bigs, I like it. So I'll have a good chunk of him. You mentioned Wendell Carter Jr., man. I love that call. He's good price. On FanDuel, his ownership's going to be like non-existent because he's a center. On DraftKings, it'll be a little higher because he's cheaper and it's easier to play him because he's power forward eligible. But really good spot for him. He went for 44 when they had Bryant. He dropped a 40 burger on him, I think, earlier this year. 40-cent fantasy, but that was last year. 44 fantasy points in 33 minutes. The minutes have been the best part with Wendell Carter. They're giving him the opportunity. He's, for the most part, staying out of foul trouble. I might have just jinxed his ass, but he's done a pretty good job these last couple games. I mean, he had to deal with Adams, had to deal with Montrezl. He had 5 fouls against Montrezl, but played 36 minutes. I don't give a damn if you got 5 fouls if you lasted 36 minutes. So I'm with you on that. After that, for me, too, the rest of the guys that I haven't mentioned already are probably underneath this tier. So take us down. Dirty Town, son.
Dirty Town. So, yeah, Blake Griffin right there at 5,900. I've been playing him, in the sixes, and then we find out, he's been playing hurt. Left that game that Drummond missed where, I had like 65% of him and he was absolutely dudding. Then he doesn't come back at halftime because he's been playing through an injury. And, is it better? I don't know. But, I'm sure he'll be motivated, to play well. And at 5'9", there's a lot of upside. So I'm thinking about 20 to 25% of him, just because he could have one of the best point per dollar, totals on the day when it's all said and done. Then we got Lauri Markkanen, who's just been playing a lot better lately, seems to, have found some confidence, getting double-digit rebounds, taking shots, and it's Washington. Cody Zeller, just moving him down to power forward has been really good for, the minutes. PJ Washington out. He should see a ton of minutes, and, Cleveland, nothing to worry about. Serge Ibaka, wing player against Detroit, 5K. Not someone I'd have a lot of exposure to, but I do like. Jeremy Grant, I have some interest in as long as Millsap is ruled out. And then Kelly Olynyk is 3,700. We're waiting on Derrick Jones Jr.'s injury status. Like, if he gets ruled out, I think Kelly O at 37 is way too low. And, a game that I think will be close, and they'll probably need his size with all that Philadelphia has, so he may get a minute increase anyway.
I'm with it. Yeah, Blake Griffin on DraftKings is very, very tempting. 5,900 on DraftKings. He's cleared to go. He's got sore knees. It's been giving him a problem. He's a risk. If it wasn't for the injury risk, I'd play him a little heavier. I would. I'm a little scared. I'm gonna play him probably around 20% or so. He's 5,900. It's just the price is too like. I don't think at 20% he's going to be the reason I lose. Like, more likely that I'm just like, all right, that if he sucks, okay, that was a waste of 20 lineups. But look at the guys he's around. You could waste it with any of them dudes. Why not take a guy that has the ceiling at least? I mean, you get in a situation like Blake on a normal day. If I know Blake has been shit this year, but if say Blake went for 40 DraftKings points, you'd be like, oh, that's disappointing. Like, on a normal day without any injuries, you'd be like, man, I was looking for that 50. He's 5,900 now. You don't need the 50 anymore. So you got to try.
Yeah, you need 40.
Now, listen, there's number one, he's been shit. Number two is a possibility he gets hurt. He's got a knee issue. So I'm not saying you have to go heavy. I'm just saying you should probably get at least a little bit. You know what I mean? Just a little bit, just in case. 30s and 70s.
Yeah, agreed.
Did you talk about Porzingis?
Yep. Yeah. He's gone for 52 games, since Luka went down. The shots, the usage, all that's been increased. It's Boston who struggles versus bigs. He, he's a guy to pair with the Boston Celtics. Like if the game doesn't go down to the wire and into overtime, he's going to have a good game. It's just even the 50 at 8.3 isn't great. He's fine. I would play him more in cash tournament. I don't think he's got a ton of upside, but we're limited on studs, and he could have one of the higher raw scores on the day at the end of the slate.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good one. I wanted your opinion. That's why I asked you, because I missed it. I wanted your opinion on him because as of right now, I really don't have a lot, man. I really don't. And the pricing, I understand the usage increase. I understand, but you and I are very familiar with Porzingis because we're Knicks fans, and he played for our Knicks several times. We saw him play without Melo, all different kinds of situations, and we understand that he's a volatile player. He is, even though he's big, even though he's massive, he's not like a Luka Doncic who's going to get those assists no matter what, who's going to get those rebounds no matter what. Porzingis ain't like that. Porzingis is a guy that is going to shoot, and he likes to shoot, and if he's shooting well, he's probably going to have a decent day. If he's not, the floor that you're paying for might be a little scary. With that said, because of the elevated usage, I agree with you. I think he's a cash play for sure. I would play him in cash. But in tournaments, I'm not getting a ton, and I'm still debating if I should force that in. But for another day. With that said, Robert Covington, I got.
Hold up.
What happened? Some shit went down?
No. I want to look up.
Towns ruled out. We just got it. Karl Anthony Towns ruled out. There we go. That's why we do the show. Coast to lock. So we can update y'all motherfuckers. So real quick, let's take a pause real quick. Let's talk about this Karl Anthony Towns absentee situation. Son?
Mm-hmm. All right. Real quick, though, while we were closing out Porzingis, the Boston Celtics are the 8th most blocked team in the last 6 games, right? So they are getting blocked the 8th most of anyone in the NBA over the last 2 weeks or so, which
makes sense. They don't have a lot of size. It makes sense. They don't really have shooters, and they don't really have size. So like a lot of their stuff is driving to the hole. It does make sense.
Yep.
30s and 7s. I'm with you, bro. I wouldn't talk anybody out of playing them. But I agree with you that the ceiling is like, that could be how he gets there with the blocks, especially on FanDuel.
Yeah. But, right. Yeah. I like him more in stacks than as like a one-off play.
Yeah. I can get behind that.
Hit the on-off with Karl Anthony Towns this year. But,
kitty.
From my point of view, Jeff Teague becomes a much more significant play at his price. Andrew Wiggins, we've seen just be significantly better this year, and now with Cat off the court, going to do dirties. Gorgeous Dong has huge point per minute upside and will get the minutes now. They've been playing Jordan Bell some. People probably won't think of him, but he should get good minutes. And you were talking about Covington. He becomes a really good play. The rebound upside goes way up. I don't think Noah Vonleh. I think Jordan Bell is kind of past him, but Jared Culver is 3.5. It's probably a solid value now. Okogie was popping on models. I wasn't really into it, but now he's going to get an increase. I would say Teague, Dieng, Wiggins, and then Jordan Bell in that order are, much better plays as a result of him being ruled out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're all getting a boost. They're all a lot better. Okogie becomes a much better value play. Still risky, but a better value play. For me, the 3 main guys, and even with the bigs between the Gorgeous Dong and, like you said, Vonleh and Bell, they have other options. They could rotate there. I'm going to wait and see who gets announced as the starter if possible. Maybe we'll check back and see who's been starting. But in these situations, it's been a while. But with that said, the 3 main guys for me for sure are going to be Wiggins, Teague, and Robert Covington. Robert Covington probably among my favorites because he's the cheapest. He's $5,300 on DraftKings, very cheap on FanDuel. This is also going to lower the ownership on FanDuel as some of those other guys around his position. I think between Theus, Tatum, and Porzingis, it was pretty tight. And now this may expand some of that ownership over there. But yeah, for me, I'm updating the article now. I'm going to update the projections in a second at WiseTake for the WiseTake Nation. But I'm updating my core plays article now to add in some of these guys because it just got juicy. This is what we were waiting for. I had a feeling. They said he had a sprained knee, bro. I had a feeling he wasn't playing, but it's been like 4 days, so I thought maybe he'd give it a shot. But with that said, I think,
Center.
yeah. Go over to centers, Paulie. What you got?
Yeah, so one of my favorite plays on the slate is Bam Adebayo. Miami and Philly are just two of the better teams in the East. They got the Jimmy Butler narrative. I expect a good close game, and Bam's been fucking awesome. The Philadelphia 76ers have been getting murked by centers over the last 2 weeks or so. And Bam has just been so consistent. He's got triple-double upside, block upside, steal upside. He's literally doing everything and getting a ton of minutes. 8K just too cheap for him. Jokic and Embiid have potentially the highest raw point ceilings on the slate. Drummond as well. Think it's worth getting somewhere between 10 and 20% of all three of those guys. And then you got Whiteside in a nut spot. The price is up there, but, he's blocking like 4 guys a game, which really raises his floor. And, he's just been playing very, very well and shouldn't see any resistance against Golden State. If that game stays close, he's going to smash. If I had to rank those 5, it would be Bam, Jokic, Drummond, Embiid, Whiteside. Rest of the position, don't really love the idea of Vuk on a back-to-back, but at 7K, he is worth getting some exposure to. I really like Joval at 6,300. Steven Adams been getting murdered at center this year. He used to be really good defensively. And Joval, he's shown us 60-point ceilings when the games are good, and I think this game will be fast. And, Memphis now all of a sudden is the 4th fastest team again in the NBA. That's the John Morant factor, and OKC can go. Tristan Thompson, 5,900. Centers have been doing the dirty to Charlotte, and the whole team seems to be motivated. Bismack Biyombo, with how short Charlotte is just getting good minutes, not really splitting with Zeller anymore, and both of them have benefited. Jean Mahinmi, Washington just so shorthanded, especially with bigs. He should get good minutes, and it's against the Bulls, one of our favorite spots in all of DFS, center against the Bulls. Gorgeous Jiang at 4K, now becomes one of the chalkier and good plays on the slate. And then I got 2 guys down here that I like a lot that are now definitely going to be low owned. Dwight Powell, bigs against Boston. He's 3,800. He got into foul trouble last game, but, the first game when Luka went down, he played 27 minutes. The game before that, 31, ran in some foul trouble against Milwaukee and Giannis, which is understandable, but against Boston, I don't think he'll get into trouble. I think he'll get that 30 minutes and crush that 3,800 price. And in that same game, Enes Kanter, he finally got minutes last game against Philly and went off. And I think he'll play somewhere between 15 and 25 minutes. And the more closer to 25, the more he's going to crush his price of 4.2. I mean, his point per minute is awesome. He just wasn't really getting minutes, but the team is short and he should get good minutes. So, I like those low-owned value plays down there as well.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's interesting because center is pretty deep, but there wasn't a ton of guys that stood out for me. You mentioned Bam. I like Bam. There's foul trouble risk, but I think Bam is playing out of his mind right now. Cancer just, not even going to get into it, but point is we know Embiid is not a great defender. Sometimes he shows up. Sometimes he don't. But Bam's doing everything right now. Whiteside, he's expensive, but it's a smash spot. You got Jokic, you got Embiid, you got so many different ways to go. None of them are really standing out. It's interesting now that the Gorgeous Dong has opened up because he's a center at 3,500 on DraftKings. He'll be center puntable on FanDuel too. I believe he's center on FanDuel. Let me just check before I make all these crazy wild.
I think
he's
so.
Center, 3,500 on both sides. So he's really cheap over there. Hey, wait, no, he's not. He's. I'm sorry, 4K on DraftKings, right?
Power forward. 4K. Yeah, 4K on DraftKings. Yeah.
It's 4K on DraftKings. So it doesn't project as well. It's still projecting very well in general. But yeah, I mean, I think Tristan Thompson is someone in the mid tier that can get lost in the shuffle. 50-something hundred against Charlotte. I'm curious to see if Charlotte is still as bad against centers when they start Zeller and Biyombo. We haven't really seen a ton of a sample on that. But while they're doing that, are they still as bad against centers? Like, you are a little bit bigger in that sense. You got 2 centers playing. Barely centers if you want to call them that. But yeah, center for me, man, it's like I'll work in some Gorgie Dong, but I'm looking at like Tristan Thompson, and then I'm looking at those guys up top. With that said,
Yeah.
that's going to do it for this portion of the breakdown. But we're going to hang tight. We're going to hang with y'all. We hang out until lock. We're going to be talking this over. We got a bunch of people here watching us, and we got a good community thing going. I'm feeling good. So, Nation, if you guys can smash that like button right now, those of you who haven't done it yet, it goes a long way. We will continue to be here Monday through Friday doing dirties up until lock for NBA. But we need the support. We need you to hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell your friends, tell your family. We are here. We are here for you. We're here for you.
Leading you up the block.
All right, so at this point,
nobody else.
That's it. Leading you. While we build our own teams, we sitting here just, doing it live so we can hang out with y'all. With that said, if you have questions, you can get them in there. The YouTube chat's a little crowded, but the Wise Stream chat for WiseTake Nation subscribers, the chat seems to be down on the site. The Slack chat's working, but the site chat hasn't been working. So just hop in the YouTube chat. We'll try to take some questions. Again, we're working on building our teams, updating content. I just updated all the projections at wisetake.com for those of you subscribed who want to upload them into your optimizers. And I updated my core plays article too for those of you that want to go up there and go check it out. With that said, at this point, we're just kind of chilling with y'all, answering some questions, building some teams, updating content, waiting for news. I'm going to flip the screen to our Slack feed. This is a NBA injuries channel that's in our Slack chat. All our members get access to it throughout the day, but any news comes in, it'll pop into here, and we will, react accordingly. But in the meantime, you can see Karl-Anthony Towns at the top ruled out. The Heat will start Nunn, Butler, Robinson, Leonard, Adebayo. Derrick Jones Jr. is active.
Is they active? Yeah. Okay.
Looking for that.
Great. Yeah, we got a couple lineups. Philadelphia, as expected, started the lineup. Toronto, as expected. Washington starting IT2, Bradley Beal, Isaac Bonga, Davis Bertans, and Jean Maheen.
Do you like Jackson Hayes as a value center at all?
No, not that I don't, but I just like the other guys better. Dwight Powell, Cantor, Gorgie Dieng, and even a little bit of Jean Mahinmi, and then even a little bit of Kelly Olynyk and Admiral Schofield. So I eliminated him from my player pool. That game could go smaller now, right? Like, no Cat. Dieng's not really a huge center,
Could for sure, yeah. I agree with that. Definitely could.
Favors being back, although it's a back-to-back, I wouldn't be shocked if he got ruled out, but right. I don't know. Who knows when they're just going to randomly play Okafor, so I just like the rest of the plays better. I'm not actually including him in my pool.
That makes sense. Which Again, Core Plays article updated for those of you who subscribed at wisetake.com. The WiseTake Nation dropping dirties on them. Dirty. I just had to get that out. It's a stressful situation sometimes when you're in a crunch. You're live on a stream. You got lock in less than half an hour. You have 150 teams to get constructed, do whatever optimizer. You got CSVs to work with. You got projections to update. It's a stressful time, and this is how I let it out, Just let it out. Let it out, bro. Don't hold it in. You don't hold it in. You don't hold it in. Nah, not you. Not you.
Not me.
Not you.
So, curious what the projected minutes are going to look like for Mini now.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I've got here. I'll tell you what I got when I put in for our projections. So, make this. So Wiggins, I raised more so, not that I think his minutes necessarily go up for real, but I needed to raise the projection, right? Covington, I think, does benefit. I think Covington goes from maybe like a 30 guy to like a 33, 34. I think T goes from a 30 to 31 to a definitely from a 30 to 33 to a definitely 33, maybe higher. Gorgeous Dong, you figure at least 20 minutes, at least, right? Like, because they do have Jackson Hayes, they do have Favors, they're going to need somebody big. You can't give him more than that because they do have Vonleh and Bell. So you don't know what they're going to do. But Dong, if you're going off the last situation, last time this happened when he got suspended because of the cat thing, that's more or less what happened. He was the one that got the role that was able to dirty up neighbors and whatnot. Let me hear what you think.
All right. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Let me check the chat. See what we doing. Might not play Wiggins. So I will say this. I see a lot of you guys talking about some of the what to do with who is it? Yeah, man, I keep losing my train
I'm
of thought.
back.
The New Orleans side. So by raising the Minnesota side, not that I think I have to because of correlation, but I think this game is likely to be better now with Cat out because they don't have a guy that could just dominate. Because New Orleans is just one of the nut worst against bigs too. They can't stop anyone. They just get destroyed. So because of this,
it's similar.
Yeah.
Similar to like the Detroit-Washington game the other night. One shorthanded team, and then playing just a very fast, non-defensive team. We should just get this fast-paced, back-and-forth game.
Agreed. Got the knee. You know what I mean? Let me see.
No questions up in there?
I'm checking, man, but is this anybody playing Draymond? We got one in here. Anybody playing Draymond? I'm playing a little bit of Draymond. I will.
Tad, yeah.
I will. We got a question from Fly Teddy Fly. What up, Fly? Fly Teddy. I like it. How much is the cheapest membership that comes with the core plays? All the content you can get. We have monthly options. That's the best bet. But if you want to just try out the content side, you won't get the Slack chat, but you'll get all the other content for $2.50. That's right. $2.50. Almost said something I probably shouldn't have said.
Day pass life.
But yeah, day pass life. You can get a day pass, try the content. But you're going to save more money if you do the monthly. Obviously, it's designed that way. And you'll get a Slack chat, which is Groovy Train. Man, here's some weird ass noises out here. I thought I saw another question somewhere up there. If I missed your question, I'm sorry. The YouTube chat's bumping. Oh, here we go. Butler or Wiggins? I say Wiggins now.
I mean, it's a different price point,
Very different, yeah. But like before, it probably was Butler for me though. Honestly. But I was already telling you, my build is already leading me towards more balanced kind of deal.
Yeah,
if
I would say Wiggins.
Wiggins. Wiggins is such a douche when he's chalked too. He really is. Just full disclosure. Another question: what do you think of Melo tonight? He's gonna have Draymond D, right? Or at least at some points.
Partial D, I don't know, but
yeah,
I don't know. My biggest problem with Portland is too many mouths to feed. The difference of having Melo out there than Al-Farouq Aminu or Mo Harkless is he's going to take a ton of shots away from everyone else, and Hassan's doing that. There's just a little bit too many mouths to feed in that team right now.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Similar to Denver.
JJ Redick will play. We'll see what the lineup is for New Orleans. Curious to see if they do Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball game time decision, so he may not play at all, let alone start. We'll have to see. That also just came through. A couple other questions. Porzingis or Whiteside? That's a good question. That's a really good question.
Yeah, I'd say Porzingis, but
I think here's the thing. What we preach to everybody is playing as many lineups as possible as you can afford. Doesn't have to be, if you got $20, split it up into those. There's plenty of cheap contests to get a ton. So the right question should be, who should I have more of, Porzingis or Whiteside? Because you should have them both. Right. In reality.
Yeah, you should have both.
Right.
Yep.
But
I have both.
But so I always answer those questions who do I have more of? And if that's the case, probably Porzingis. Do y'all like Thad Young tonight?
A little bit, but he's just a fringe 5% play. We've got really strong value at center, power forward, shooting guard, point guard. He's a fringe play.
Fringy McFringy, son. So between these three players, Wiggins, Teague, and Covington, which one, rank those three? I know you're going to have a lot. I'm assuming you're going to have a lot of all three, but rank them.
Yeah. Teague, Covington, Wiggins.
Teague, Covington, Wiggins. We got news. Derek Favors will remain limited to around 20 minutes. My order is pretty much the same, by the way. I think I would technically say Covington, Teague, but then Wiggins. But Wiggins, that's interesting. Wiggins third because he's the most expensive. And then the other two are reasonable. I understand Teague because he's a point guard. Covington for the rebounds. It's it's tough. It's close. Favors will remain limited to around 20 minutes on Wednesday. So Hayes, I'm assuming, will play the rest. Holiday, JJ Redick won't have a minutes limit on Wednesday. Didn't know there was a thing. But and we got the starting lineup for Detroit: Brown, Kennard, Snell, Griffin, Drummond. Dirty style. How much Okigi you gonna? How about that? Is that
6%? Not much. I don't need the value. I'm very balanced. And
well, let me ask you this: would you rather play Gorgeous Dong or would you rather play Okigi? They're $100 apart.
Dong.
Yeah, me too. I'd rather play the Dong. Let me
by a mile.
that Dong. Yeah, I said it. So what? Don't be a hater. What? Oh shit! Appreciate it, Rob Covington. Is this guy? Hey! Wouldn't you like to know, Spencer? You got guesstimation, man. People just can't just enjoy life, bro. I'm not gonna repeat the question, but those of you in the chat, you saw the question. Levine and Mahimi or Satoransky and Tatum?
Satoransky, Tatum.
I would agree. No Smarter Hayward for Boston should be good for Kemba and Jalen. Absolutely, Greg. Will Barton or Gallinari?
Will Barton.
Gorgie Dang or Mahimi?
Dieng.
Hayes or Dieng? I know that's Dieng, right?
Dieng.
Theus or Marketed?
I mean, they're totally different prices, but marketing
hard. All right, I'm gonna step away from this chat for a second, Nation. I'll check on it in a minute, but I gotta get some of these teams going, man. Gotta get some of these damn teams going, man. Let's see. I want to get fucked like the other day. That was brutal. Oh my god. That was. Yeah. It sucked. Biggins. Give me that CSV life. Hit those like button, everybody. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us, rocking with us into lock. Again, we are trying to do this Monday through Friday. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications bell so you're notified when we go live. And like the video. The more likes we get, the more likely we are to continue this shit. Some prime definitive definition shit right there. There, yes, sir. I find myself paying down at center more than I thought I was gonna be. It's just
Yeah, I mean, I really like Powell and Cantor down there, and Dieng.
There's a bunch of them. How much Wendell Carter you playing?
Minimal, because I'm just loaded with those other guys we talked about.
Yeah, I understand that. How much Daniel Theus you playing? How about that?
Minimal.
He doesn't make the cut.
Just don't think he's got the upside of the rest of them.
Yeah, there's just so many guys that are in that tier that are just like,
The whole slate, though, is very balanced. I'm struggling to really, put anybody over, 30% today.
Oh, no doubt. Bro.
There's just not a ton of separation amongst the plays I like a lot.
No, you're absolutely 100% right. I got the same vibage going down over here.
Yeah.
Same.
I'm about to crunch in a minute, and we'll talk about my exposures. But
exposures,
they're going to be lower than
your average
I thought
bear?
they would be.
Be lower than the average bear up in here, bro. Yeah, buddy. What we're working with here. Well, let me know when you're done, because I got a question for you. I got an exposure question I want to know from you.
Okay.
Today the plays.
Can you take a quick look at projected ownership? How has that shifted? I would think Dieng and Wiggins are now up at the top.
Yeah, take a look. Gorgeous Dong, 60% I'm seeing in some places.
Yeah.
Bradley Beal.
The chalk is guaranteed to be 60% nowadays.
Yeah. No, it's true. Especially in the contest we're playing, because everybody's MMEing those. It's just that dirty life. What are you gonna do? Do the dirty or be dirtied on. We say it every day. And people just, don't pay it no mind sometimes. It's frustrating. Every day. Let's see. So I'm seeing Gorgeous Dong 60%, Bradley Beal around 40, Kemba around 40, Jeff Teague around 40, Wiggins around 33, Tatum at 30. I'm surprised that Covington's not up here. Covington is not on this list at the top. Porzingis, his ownership probably dropped a bit. Chris Stapps, looking for my Chris Stapps.
All right, I'm ready for your exposure question.
All right, how much Bertanzas you got? Bertanzas from Kansas.
He's my third highest player at 35%.
Right, and like that was gonna be my point. Normally, I'm pretty comfortable going like 50-60% on a few players, and today it's not really like that. There's not a ton of separation. Obviously, the Minnesota helped and the Boston helps, but because we're in the mid tier, like everybody's in the mid tier pricing, it seems like, and it's just very little separate. A lot of guys projecting for like 5.5, 5.5, 5.5. It's like hard to really take a stance on one of them if they're all projecting around the same and they're all the same price. It's like 7-ing.
Yep.
Yeah. Trying to up Porzingis' projection. Just a drop, just to make sure. Get a little. Get some of that gushy. Still not projecting great, man. Shit. Still ain't great. Too late. So what does this Gorgie Don situation do for you in terms of Bam Adebayo? Like, are you playing? How much Gorgeous are you looking at?
Right now, I have 25.
Yeah.
Bam is my highest owned player. Yang is like fifth, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys between 16 and 20%.
7-ing. 7 style. Let me get this CSV up, and then I'll look at the YouTube chat for the last 10 minutes or so. Last 10 minutes, I'll pull up the YouTube. I just need to make sure my shit is straight. So, are you playing a lot of Bradley Beal or not?
Bradford, I have. He's my second highest shooting guard at 25.
25, Bradley style. Bradley Beal.
Who's your favorite Pelican to run with all these Timberwolves?
Ingram and Holiday. I'm a little torn on which one, because I'm worried that Covington's going to cover Ingram a bit more. I don't think anybody on this team is like good defensively outside of him at this point. Like, at least as far as like the regular guys we're going to see. So I guess Drew Holiday slightly.
Anybody else? Like any of the value plays?
No, I don't think so, man. I don't think I'm like. I don't know if I, Who done did it? Window. That's all I got to say about that. But yeah, I agree with you that it's a little harder to take like a true stance in this situation. Yeah, some dudes falling down this list. It's like, damn, wait, son.
12 minutes to lock.
12 minutes to lock. That's how we do that. Let's go. Where are we going, though? I don't know. You tell me, bro. How we do that?
I don't know.
How is it done? I don't know.
How much Cantor are you playing?
I got 30% right now, but I'm probably going to lower that to 25 because I have to work in these other centers now.
Yeah.
But I was, was a little heavier on them, 30s and 7s. I still do like them, don't get me wrong. Just got to make some room sometimes. The truth is this. Come on. Oh, cause I say you can find me. Oh, this Oompa Loompa shit. I think I'm digging it for the most part. I think so. Cruncherific. Bulls will start Satoransky, Dunn, Levine, Markkanen, Carter Jr. Nothing out of the usual there. I'm going to upload the CSV in a couple minutes, and I'll pull up the chat and see if there's any questions leading into it. We got about 10 minutes till Lockington. Bob Laga drop it. Doing dirties, neighborly style. And that will be the day. That will be the day. Oh, man. Stressful times, man. NBA is stressful, man. It's the best sport, no doubt, right? It's the best sweat. It's the best process. Like, I love NBA. I love it. But damn, it could be stressful.
Yeah. For sure. Especially like right now.
Right now. Especially when you got some asshole talking into your ear as you're trying to crush teams. Trying to make like crucial decisions. You got this dude talking to you. It's like, yeah, feels you greatly. Sucking on it hard. Yeah, so you heard me, boy. What? Yeah. I hit Stevie up with the hard and long, man. That was so funny. I'm gonna get him again at some point. I love messing with him, man. It's fucking hilarious.
He didn't know what to do.
I hit him with the sucking on the hard and long. He was like, "What? What do I do?" He was like, "Oh my gosh." Oh dear, just kidding, Stevie. Just fucking with you, man. Shout out to Stevie Brown. Get down with Stevie Brown. He wrote the Slate Breakdown article today.
8 minutes to lock.
Oh no, don't tell me that.
Nothing else coming through on the news front?
Nothing, man. Screen's pulled up. We got some lineups coming out. That's about it. You know, we're in that crunch zone. Trying to get that crunch home. You know. Wanna my car. Wanna make her. You know.
Let me know when you're ready to talk top 5 highest exposed.
We'll do that in a second. Yeah. I keep on like, this crunch isn't giving me exactly what I want. It's making me mad, bro. I'm gonna get real fucking mad in a second. Alright, but in the meantime, talk to me about yours.
Okay. So going with Bam as my highest at 38%. Jeff Teague second. Bertanzas third. Wiggins fourth. Let me just upload this and then I can return. Boom. Everything. 155 lineups uploaded.
155, damn.
Yeah. Then Kemba fifth. Brad Beal tied for fifth. Yang tied for fifth. So I have 7 guys in my top 5 highest owned, and Bam's at the top at 38, and then 3 guys tied at 25. So I'm like, pretty spread out with, a much lower exposed core than I normally have.
It's interesting because it sounds like there's more player in your technical core. It's just the actual percentages of that core individually are lower than normal, right?
Yep.
It's got a weird vibage. I'm digging it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating. Just saying. At the end of the day. Yeah, I get the feeling it's going to be either a really great night for me or it's just like the worst. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not seeing a ton of middle ground for myself here, bro. I'm seeing like I'm
What are like your favorite games to get exposure to?
so what did I just do? Yeah, hold up. They just do something.
All right.
I just made a boo-boo.
For me, it's Boston, Dallas, it's Chicago, Washington, and it's Minnesota, New Orleans. Right? Those are like the three. Should be fast paced. All that good stuff. Like the idea of stacking them up. I think they stay close. Right. Then after that, I have like the Memphis OKC game. I got my eye on, and then the Miami Philly. I think you'll need overtime because they're just not going to play that fast, but there's potential for that in that game.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you. Let me see if there's any questions in the crunch real quick. Let me see. Is Dang worth it on FanDuel?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too. He's 3,500 over this min price. Only problem is you're sacrificing the centers, but there's plenty of guys you can try to make it up with. It's worth a shot, I think, at least. Any news on Tatum? Tatum is not like you actually saw. Fantasy Labs made a report. Tatum is not even on the injury report at all. For some reason, FanDuel and DraftKings has him listed as questionable, but apparently he's not even on the injury report anymore. Love or Derrick Rose?
Yeah. Love.
Yeah, I think Love. You gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna rapid fire some questions out of YouTube. All right. Barton or Melo?
Out of me? You want me to know? You're asking YouTube.
Yeah. I'm asking you. These questions from
Barton. Oh, you see the question.
Yeah, Barton for me too.
Yeah.
Dame or Jimmy?
Man, I think I'm going to have more Jimmy. I want to say Dame would be slick, but I'm going to be transparent about this. I'm going to have about 20% Jimmy and 15% Dame. So I guess Jimmy is the...
Wendell Carter or Joe Val?
Wendell Carter.
Joe Val.
Boom.
Brown or Tatum?
Brown.
Besides Jokic, what other Denver players do y'all like? I like Jamal Murray the most out of Denver, and then
I'll be right back.
Barton.
You keep going. I'll be right back.
All right. Any Chris Paul love? Minimal. I think that's point chasey, but I do like cards against Memphis. I probably have like 3% of Chris Paul. Ingram or Siakam? Ingram. I just think that game is just super fast and likely to be close. SGA, gonna ball. I agree. I like Gilgeous-Alexander more than Chris Paul. What about Monk? I like Monk a lot. 3,300, too cheap. A lot of new value came onto the slate, so he's probably going to be like 10% or less. And he's a streaky player, and he's probably in one of his hot streaks right now. Kemba Wiggins, I would say slightly Kemba.
In a back.
Do you like Dorian Finney-Smith?
No, I like you said earlier, I just don't know if I need it today, right? Like I liked him a lot more the other day. I don't know if I need it today.
Yep. Dunn or Satoransky? I say Satoransky.
I say Satoransky as well. Revenge, let's go.
Yep. Any Cantor? Yes, we're both playing decent amount of exposure to Cantor.
Yeah.
Levine or Drew Holiday?
I like Holiday.
Good question.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
Ownership wise, you're gonna make a killing with Levine if you're right about that.
Yep.
But I lean towards Holiday at this point.
Laurie or Wendell is killing me. Yeah, it's a better spot for the bigs, which would be Wendell, but he was coming in as questionable with something, I think, an illness, and Laurie Markkinen seems to be playing better.
Mm-hmm.
Laurie should get a little bit more minutes. I actually lean Laurie, but it is really close.
It's close.
I agree.
It is. It's very close. It's a tough call. For sure. You got 1 minute left. We're just about here. Just about lock time. We had a pretty good turnout today. Appreciate those of you that tuned in. Again, subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you're notified whenever we do go live. We cover various sports on the channel. And hit the like button. Likes go a long way. We will continue to pump out the content. And if you need more help, if you really want to, if you're trying to take TFS serious, really, really want to learn about getting better. If you're trying to play but you have work and you don't have time to do all the research and you need some help, no matter what the case may be, if you're looking to better your game, that's the whole point of WiseTake, the WiseTake Nation, the DFS premium content provider, as well as the DFS community designed to help make you a better DFS player. Last question from Eric Smith. Play Marketing and Levine together in the game stack? Sure.
Whoa. Yes.
That's going to do it, Nation. Hopefully we see this turn out again tomorrow. For Paulie D, for myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, Core Plays Core Plays video will be out on the channel later. And as always, good luck.